All right, welcome to Bills Overdue, a Buffalo Fanatics vidcast. My name is Jeremy. You can find me on Twitter at Buffalornia.
My name is Max. You can find me on Twitter at Cinco de Maxo. And today, the day before kickoff Sunday, we are joined by a very special guest. It is Stothy down below me right here. Stothy, introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? Stothy Papadopoulos. You can find me on Twitter at Wistful Papadoc.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know who Stothy is, I wanted to bring him on. He does a lot of really cool Bills, like little threads, like film threads. There's that, I don't know why. They're just, if you enjoy film threads, they're awesome. He puts a lot of work into them too, like a lot. So I've noticed, did one on Josh Allen, Beasley, John Brown. There was one that you did like entirely of just like all the drops that Allen had, like the frustrating drops, which it's kind of like a bittersweet thread. It's like, it sucks, but at the same time, it's like, well, he was better than people say he was. But so that was a real bittersweet a lot
of Kelvin Benjamin on there, sadly.
Yeah. You also did a recent one on Ed Oliver. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not following Stothy, please check him out again.
He's got an awesome Twitter handle, Wistful Papadoc. That's pretty cool.
It's my gamer tag from like 7th grade. It was just randomly generated, so I'm rolling with it.
Nice.
There you go. That works. Jeremy, I think we should probably do our own sort of film threads, but like parody film threads where we just say stupid shit about the plays.
Yeah, we should have did that. We should do it by now.
You should watch some Jets tape then.
There you go.
There you go. Zinger. I like it already, man.
Guys, it's week 1. We are literally less than 24 hours. Check the time. I'm doing my math right here. Let's see. It's like, I want to say 18 hours until the Bills kick off against the Jets. Week 1. It's about to get started. This is the best time, or right before everything's about to happen. I'm geared up. I'm psyched. I got my old Ryan Fitzpatrick jersey on, my Youth XL Ryan Fitzpatrick jersey on, because I was like 11 years old when I got it. So I'm super excited.
I am rocking my Josh Allen jersey, which I will also be rocking tomorrow. How about you, Stothy? What do you got on?
I just got a Bills tee, but I tried to slip into my like 04 Drew Bledsoe Bills jersey and just couldn't fit. The Youth XL just isn't cutting it anymore.
Right it on. So with the game tomorrow, guys, I thought maybe we kind of just go and share our usual game day experience. Nothing too crazy. I know for me personally, I usually head over to my dad's. We have a friend of mine, Mike, who usually comes over. It's like the only 2 Bills fans I know in 50-mile radius or something down here in like SoCal. If it was in LA or San Diego, I'd probably be able to find some Bills backers places, but I'm not too close to any of those. But it's going to be awesome getting back into that. You guys have anything you usually do that you're looking forward to, or what's the usual Bills game day like for you?
I normally wake up. I get a bowl of probably Lucky Charms cereal in the morning. I like Lucky Charms, and I watch a little pregame coverage. Fox, CBS, doesn't really matter. Not usually the ESPN pregame coverage. And then I normally just start watching the game. I don't really have any ritual. I don't have any special socks or anything like that. I just start watching the game, and I hope the Bills win. That's about it. Pretty boring, but it's what I do.
How about you, Stothy?
Yeah, likewise, Max. I actually live in Boston, so I try and stay as far away as possible from all my friends and all that noise, and watch with my pops.
Yeah, Max is also in.
I know that's what that's kind of like. I'm from northeastern Connecticut. It's like I'm pretty much in Patriots territory. I went to high school. I grew up in northeastern Connecticut. I went to high school there, and I grew up around Patriots fans. And if you can, being in the toxic climate of high school, plus being surrounded by Patriots fans and being the sole Bills fans at that high school, it was rough. It was rough, man. I made through it. I made it through, and I'm here today to tell the tale. So,
look in the comments. I just want to throw out we got the one and only David Tilton joining us, aka Tilt Money from the Bills guys. So, you know, Bills guys are great.
He's checking up on our audio quality. We're sounding good.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. So guys, yeah, the game's getting started. I have, before we get too much, I got one what the fuck for the show, Max and Stati. I almost don't even want to say the person's name because it's like, they say any publicity is good, but I feel like I just have to. Really quick though, Destin Line says, I wake up, light a candle to my shrine, which is a picture of Josh Allen in shorts. Love it.
Where is that shrine located, Dustin? Like, is it in your bedroom? Is it in your living room? Is it right below your TV? Like, I want to know. Anyway,
but it was, I think his name was Adam Beasley. He doesn't deserve the last name, obviously, but he says he thinks the Dolphins are in contention for to win the AFC East, which, fine. But he said, the one thing he says is like, the Bills have Josh Allen as a quarterback, and he goes, and I've got no confidence in that guy. And he said that with so much confidence. And I'm just like, dude, who cares what you think? Like, honestly. And I'm not trying to be like a hater. Like, obviously, it's like, oh, he said something bad about Josh Allen. Like, I hate it, but it's like, oh no, it's like that scene from Jurassic Park. It's like, this guy doesn't have any confidence in Josh Allen. And it's like, nobody cares. Yeah.
Nobody cares, man.
Yeah.
There are way too many of those guys.
Absolutely.
They're just hanging on. They're just hanging on to their pre-draft, predictions for what Josh Allen was going to do. They're hanging on to those pre-draft profiles saying, oh, this guy's got a big arm, but he's going to be a bust. And they're just still hanging on to that despite the evidence of growth over 2 years. And it's just like, you got to move on. I don't get it.
To be honest, man, it's part of the reason why I started doing the threads. And when I first got into it, it was during quarantine, and NFL was giving away Game Pass for free, and I was kind of sick of all those guys, and the Josh Allen is inaccurate takes. So I kind of set out on a journey to just tweet all of his throws and just, put it out there for everyone to see, right? Like, what are your thoughts on, his accuracy, how he plays, his development in year 2. So shout out to Adam Beasley.
Yeah, so big thanks to Tilt Money for the super chat. It says, I get so nervous on opening day. All the food I make, I never eat it until halftime or until the game is over.
That's poor planning, man. Come on. Yeah. What are you doing? You gotta eat. My top 2 priorities are football and food. Those are my top 2 priorities in life. And listen, I get putting football before food, but like, it's not very far after. So like, you gotta get to the food quick.
One thing I love about being on the West Coast is that for me, it's like I wake up and I only have to wait like an hour and a half or 2 until the game starts because I get it at 10 a.m. So I love not having to actually wait till like 1 or so. So I wake up. I'm usually not that hungry, actually, but it's like the only time outside of Vegas where I wake up and start drinking at like 10 or 10:30 in the morning, and it's acceptable. So that's a good thing about game days Sundays for me.
That sounds awful for me. Like for me, my schedule is I normally wake up at like 11 a.m. on the weekends. So if I was on the West Coast, I would be screwed. Like I'd wake up at halftime and I'd be like, well, the Bills are up by 5. That's good to hear, but I would have missed the entire first half.
Yeah. Are there ever like Sundays where you're just too hungover, like can't do it?
I haven't had like one of those terrible ones where it's like I'm just like I'm not getting out of bed. I've at the worst I've just like gotten up and I'm like I feel kind of crappy, but it's like it's one of those where it's like if I get a couple beers in me, like I'll feel better. Like it's one of those. So I've been good enough to not go like crazy the night before Bills game. So
that reminds me, last year I believe Tilt Money reminded me. He said Maxo living that young man's life. I actually woke up last year. It was a 1 p.m. kickoff. I woke up at 1:30 and I was like, oh shoot, god damn it. I've already missed something.
Somebody asked,
that was bad. It was a wild night.
Asked, we're at in California, and this is a great place for me to advertise. Like I said, I don't know a lot of Bills fans, but I am in Apple Valley, California. It's in like the high desert, about an hour and a half or so, like northeast of like LA. So if anybody happens to be in the comments and you are close, hey, let me know. I'd love to start a Bills backers club. It might just be 5 of us, but I'm down.
Are you going to leave me to podcast with some California kid? Don't do that to me, Jeremy.
Oh, no.
I know you got a soft spot for those California guys out there, but
absolutely
come
not,
on.
But maybe.
All right.
So let's talk about the game tomorrow, guys. Like the Bills and the Jets. This is our first time, Max, like during the season. You know, we started this in the off season like idiots, and we had like nothing to talk about. We had to make things up all the time. So we don't really have too much of a strategy going into it. And maybe I shouldn't have admitted that out loud, but hey, whatever. But where should we start? What do you guys think? Anybody?
I think we got to start with the fact that just going into this game, all the expectations are on the Bills, and no one has any expectations really for the Jets. So, you know,
True.
I wrote an article this week, self-plug, for the Buffalo Fanatics about outrageous predictions for week 1. And I said Buffalo's put 50 points up, a 50 burger. Why not?
I read it. It was really fun, you guys, and we shared it. So definitely check it out. My favorite bit, and I don't want to prevent people from reading it by giving too much away, but I loved your prediction about Adam Gase just quitting. I would say pregame.
Yeah, you know, I think he suffered enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, at halftime. How about that? That would be some sweet revenge right there. You know, we've already had one halftime retirement. It would be sweet as the opposition.
I picture Adam Gase like sitting at a bar, and he's like looking at the game on TV, and the bartender's like, "Hey, ain't you the coach of them Jets? Shouldn't you be at the game?" He's like, "Nah, not today." And he's just like, and then like the bartender gives him like a very motivational speech, and then Adam Gase is like, "I know what you're talking about." And then he goes in the alley and overdoses on like heroin that he buys, and maybe dies, maybe doesn't. I don't know.
No, he overdoses on heroin. Or no, it's some other drug or something. He thinks it's smelling salts, but it's actually like cocaine or something. Like,
hopefully he makes it and they just rehire him.
Oh my God! Hey, we all want him to get that Patrick Mahomes deal, right? Like,
yeah, we do
in the Jets.
Yeah,
but, I mean, so let's just talk about the Jets. I mean, and here's all that I know. I believe, you know, their offensive line isn't great, but they have Connor McGovern is decent. He's a good center. They drafted a left tackle. And I'm pretty sure the rest of the line is pretty suspect. Their wide receiver core is banged up. I think they have like 3 going into wide receiver. Like I mean,
Denzel Mims. He's out.
No Denzel Mims. He is out.
Hogan.
Is Chris Hogan out?
No, he's going to be in. So they'll have Chris Hogan. I guess
okay.
Rashad Perryman is going to be in. And I believe Jamison Crowder, who when we played them in week 1 last year, I think set the record for most catches without breaking 100 yards. Like had like 13 or 14 catches.
Oh yeah, Crowder.
But they're all like, you know, short passes. I think Adam Gase was like trying to copy like Belichick's offense. He's just like, just do a really short pass and then he'll just get 10 yards after, right? It's that easy. And it's like, no, a little bit more goes into it. You need to have good receivers. And so it didn't really work out that well. But they don't have Robbie Anderson anymore. Rashad Perriman is like, it's like an experiment.
They got the first round bust Brashard Perryman in the doors, so watch out. He's got the speed. He's got the speed. He's got the potential.
He kind of had like a Robert Foster year where he like broke out in the second half with like 500 or 600 yards. The only thing is, you know, Robert Foster was an undrafted free agent, and Brashard Perryman was a first round who took like a couple years to finally do that.
Yeah.
So they kind of have that experience. And then, oh gosh,
is this the Chris Hogan revenge tour? Question mark. Is Chris Hogan gonna come out and be like, you know what? I played for the Bills like years and years ago. I'm gonna put on a show just to show them that I still got something left in the tank.
Don't you gotta be like good enough to have revenge tours? Like,
no, you can have revenge tours if you're bad. Why not?
It's just people probably won't care, I guess. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the 2 like defensive players that Jets fans just like love bragging about, CJ Mosley and Jamal Adams are both gone, which I still love Judge Mather's tweet. Like he said, smart strategy to avoid playing for Adam Gase for a year and opting out for CJ Mosley. So, and their cornerbacks are just, I don't know. So with all that going on,
someone in the chat, you know,
wild comment.
Wild comment in the chat. You know what this is. You know what this is, guys. This
Are you
is
talking?
this is. I live in a college house right now. I'm roommates, or not roommates. I'm housemates with like 5 or so people, and they're all just messing with me right now. They're trolling me right now.
Dr.
They're talking
Jedi
about
Spartan.
They're talking about this comment. They're talking about that, and I'm gonna put that down immediately. So
That's
just so you all saw that for a second, but I don't know who that is.
Awesome name, Dr.
I think
Jedi
you know what I think that
Spartan.
is. I have no idea who that is. I think one of my housemates created like a fake Google account and made that as their like handle or something.
I think it's Steve Mathis.
It might be Steve Mathis, honestly.
I don't know if Tilton, if you can maybe get us on, but I wouldn't be surprised. But so let's talk about the offense. That's the biggest thing. Let's start with Josh Allen. And again, Stothy, you did a good film thread on him. I mean, where do we even begin? I guess like Stothy with the film threads. What would you just say? You know, his weaknesses were from watching him. Okay, let's just start there. His obvious weaknesses.
Yeah, sure. So I think for me, I mean, it was kind of obvious for everyone. The biggest thing for him is his deep ball go route accuracy. You know, I think it's been talked about a lot. They talk about his mechanics, how he's going to fix it, all that. But I don't think that he needs to be like this guy that, you know, leaps and bounds, improves in that area of his game for them to be successful. But he just really needs to give his receivers a chance on those deep go routes. Like there were a number of times where John Brown would just blow by the defense, right? And he's running, you know, he's angling towards the right side of the field. And really all you got to do is, you know, make sure you're throwing it in the direction that he's running. And, you know, sometimes he couldn't even do that. So,
yeah, I remember a couple of those. Like it was John Brown. I think maybe even like Andre Roberts. They were both like, you know, once it's thrown, it's getting close. Like you can see they're wide open. It's just got to be on point. And it's like,
and
he's
got to like turn and look. And I think if you can avoid some of those and hit a couple of the other deep shots, it really starts to open things up. And, you know, they now have receivers that can win on all areas of the field, right? You got Beasley underneath, you got John Brown deep to intermediate, who was huge for him last year. I mean, you know, the one thing that stuck out watching the film was I was shocked at how great Josh was in the intermediate area of the field. Right. You know, and I think, you know, John Brown helped him there. It was a lot of, you know, teams couldn't play his speed deep while respecting the sort of deep comeback. So a lot of those throws, you know, while they were pretty open, his timing, his accuracy, it was all there. It was all there to see. So, you know, didn't really see, you know, all the slander of, you know, he's inaccurate on all levels of the field. He can't hit anything, you know. It was more just the deep go route. He really struggled in that area.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering, going off that, do you take a lot of stock into, you know, seeing these videos posted on social media of, you know, Josh Allen training in the off season, kind of hitting that deep go route ball? I know it's just practice. I know they're just, you know, on a field in training camp or a field in Florida somewhere. Do you take any stock into that, and you really think he's improving on that deep ball?
Yeah, I mean, it gets me fired up, man. I'll tell you that. It's impossible not to when you see him hitting Gabe Davis like one-handed grabs over Trey White or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think the kid just wants to improve. He's a, you know, you can tell he wants it. He wants it bad, and he's not scared of the moment. So for me, you know, it's good to see him working on that. But until he does it in the game, you know, we'll see. Try and temper expectations.
Yeah, I kind of just want to close out like the Josh Allen topic. And someone said before, but I've been kind of thinking of it all week. I think, well, actually, no, because I'm sorry. I didn't know this until like today, but I guess the weather tomorrow is supposed to be pretty crappy. People are saying like some heavy rain and thunderstorms. So before that, I actually wanted to say I think he had a possibility where he can maybe finally hit that 300-yard game, but I don't know with the weather like that. Who knows? But I was going to make
he can throw in rain or shine, Jeremy. Rain, shine, snow, doesn't matter.
He's got the arm.
Right? He's got the arm.
That's true. You throw it
He's
that
got
hard, the
Diggs.
ball kind of
Jeremy, you can't be so pessimistic. It's literally the night before the kickoff, man. You can't. We gotta be fired up here.
I'm just
I'll
saying
tell
the
you-
game plan might change a little bit. I'm not being negative. It's just, hey, game
He's
plan
gonna throw
could
for
change.
600 yards.
600.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you
Double
one
nothing.
thing, Jeremy.
Yeah.
You go through the matchups, and there's literally almost none that I see the Jets beating the Bills in.
I agree.
Kind of across the board.
Rashard Perryman versus Trey White. You don't see that?
doesn't get it going for me. But I'll say the gambler in me is kind of sketched out that the line is at 6.5. Like, why is that under a touchdown? Because Vegas, like, seemingly always knows, and that's sketching me out.
Yeah,
You
I
think
saw
it's
that
too
too.
low? Sorry, you're saying it's too low?
I mean, I don't know how you really quantify home and away games now without crowds, but I mean, it's in Buffalo. You know, the matchups, like I said, we're just a better team. We were a better team last year. And, you know, while they missed a couple field goals in that game week 1, I think we outgained them something like 370 yards to 222. And it was really, you know, they had a pick 6 on a pass that was in that drop thread that was, you know, it was a little low, I'll say, but it was more than catchable. And then, you know, Josh had a batted line at the line of scrimmage, batted ball at the line of scrimmage. That was a pick. And then, you know, the other area that I was going to say he needs to improve in is, you know, sacks and fumbling. He had 16 fumbles last year, which is a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think they only lost something like 4 of them, but that can change pretty quick, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
So
going off that betting line thing, Wistful Papadoc, I noticed, you know, it was the Bills were favored by 6.5, but I think I saw the Patriots are favored by 7, which I don't understand. The Patriots are playing Miami week 1, and all the turnover in New England versus all the improvement in Buffalo, and yet the Patriots are favored by more points than the Bills somehow in their week 1 matchup. I think Vegas has that wrong. So I would definitely take the Bills 6.5. You know, I'm not going to tell you where to put your money, but put your money with the Bills.
Yeah. I definitely want to say, like, I agree it's too low. I think we would all be a little bummed if we won by just a touchdown.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just, for me, it's got to be a double-digit win. I think we're just way better. I'm sorry. Gosh, even after seeing like the Chiefs, like what they did the Texans, it's like, no, we have to beat the Jets by more than a touchdown. It has to be at least double digits for me.
I have absolutely no basis for this, but I feel like Vegas intentionally sets like favorites really low week 1 just to suck you in and think that it's easy, and then they just roast you from there on out.
Yeah, that might be it. I don't know. The bookies never lose.
So let's move on. What do you say we move on to the wide receivers? You guys good with that? I want to talk about this wide receiver tomorrow. I mean, start with Stephon Diggs. I have a feeling that they're definitely going to kind of like, you know, they're going to want to show off their new toy. I kind of feel like he is going to be targeted a lot. I'm excited to see it. What do you guys got to say?
I'll start off. I mean, I can't wait for the first Diggs, you know, the first Allen Diggs sideline touchdown call. Like, that'll be awesome. And I think he'll explode. You know, he's going against bad corners for the Jets. And, you know, I really don't see any reason not to unleash Josh Allen today. Rain or shine. It might be a little rainy tomorrow, but, you know, I think you gotta go out and prove that what you did this offseason to make this team better at every level, at every position, that it's going to pay off this year in, you know, championship contention. Like that's the expectation this year.
I got a quick question. Maybe Stott, that you can answer this. When you talk about like personnel groupings or something, there's like 11, 12, 21 personnel. Is there a personnel grouping where the Bills can just put all 6 of their wide receivers out there? Is that a thing where you just line them all up? Does that ever happen?
If there is, I think Dayball would find it.
I mean, he likes to get
creative.
I'm a
big Dayball guy. I know some people kind of slam him, and I feel like that happens to offensive coordinators, but you know, just seeing what he did with Josh last year and, you know, some of the packages that he rolled out. just playing to his strengths. I love the guy. I think he could do a lot worse in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's does some head scratchers every now and then, but I do think he can be like very creative sometimes and like very impressive. Uh, and sometimes he kind of people like to use him as like the scapegoat whenever something doesn't go wrong. They like to call his play calling, but the player, it's also some execution as well. But I'm excited to see what he does with all these pieces as far. And yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Egriff said that would mean 4 linemen. So no, that's what I was thinking. If you had like 6 wide receivers, Josh Allen, I think that only leaves with about 4 linemen. I mean,
That's
hey,
all right. The NFL's always changing. The personnel groups are always changing. We could see a 4 lineman NFL someday. Who knows? Why not?
I mean, maybe
Why
if
not
you're
start
going
now?
against a 3-4, that buys you a little bit of time. Those 4
Numbers game,
linemen
man.
on the linebackers hang back a bit.
Yeah.
I
What
know
do
a
the
lot about
advanced
football, obviously.
analytics? What do the advanced analytics say? We don't know because no one's ever tried 4 offensive linemen before. So we got to try it now, and then whatever the advanced analytics say, then we do what that says. So
Yeah, maybe
I don't
Dable
know.
tries it tomorrow, and we make history. So Stephon Diggs, yeah, I'm super excited about Stephon Diggs. Stothy, I mean, we all know he's like a great route runner, but you said you did a little bit of thread on him as well. Like, what are you excited about for Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, I mean, Diggs was even before we traded for him like my favorite wideout in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, you go through his film, and it's really hard to pick out weaknesses. I know that sounds kind of lame to say, but his ball tracking when it's in the air, adjusting, his game speed, twitchiness, hands. I think he was among the best in the league for a couple of years in contested catches, despite not being like a 6'4" guy. It's.
But
I think we're
Stothy,
going to see it all.
don't we need a big-bodied wide receiver like Kelvin Benjamin or Andre Holmes that can go up and high point the ball?
Yeah,
Please,
you can't make
come on,
contested
man.
catches if you're under
I
6
like
foot.
what we built,
Ridiculous.
man. That's what we got Dawson Knox for.
We got
And Gabe Davis.
this comment section. There's some good ones. First off, Brian, I like this strategy. Put all the weapons in. So 4 linemen, all the receivers, and then pass it to Dion. Again, that's something I could see Dable doing. It's like he likes
That's
he's like,
ingenuity.
make you think
all
one
right?
thing. Yeah. Maybe put Dion in motion too, and then do that little front toss, and then he runs it in.
Brian,
Go
there might be
reverse with Dion Dawkins.
Brian,
Make
there might be an opening for Brian in the Bills coaching staff room. Like that's a strategy.
And then going with the rhyming, I'm gonna go from Brian to Ryan. So they should play the Ghostbusters song after the national anthem. Why stop there? They should play it throughout the game. I think they should play it like after every like Darnold turnover, after every touchdown.
Or how about you? I think you should sneak it in for a moment, like in the 4th quarter, 3rd down for the Jets or something. Like save it for a good spot. It's a crucial point in the game, and then Sam Darnold's in shotgun, and then all of a sudden he hears that, and he's like
the Steelers do with Renegade.
Who am I going to call?
Nobody. So yeah, great comments, you guys. Awesome. But so yeah, there's Stephon Diggs. Max, you got anything else? You weren't in the number 14. Anything on Stephon Diggs?
I mean, I got stuff on 14, Ryan Fitzpatrick from 2011, but no, Diggs. We covered Diggs.
Yeah. And I am excited that how much opportunities. Again, the defense isn't that great as it is, but then to have like Diggs and John Brown, it'll be really fun to see. Just like how much more John Brown can get, because the team's best players, who probably kind of aren't very good as they are on Diggs, but John Brown, like just all the wide receivers, it's gonna be really exciting. That's why I feel like the weather's gonna suck, but with all those wide receivers, I feel like Josh just has to throw the ball a little bit more. Like, why wouldn't you want him to?
Yeah. Do you think?
Honestly,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm honestly interested to see how Dawson Knox does this year. I'm fired up for him to play and really grow in this offense this year. I was kind of surprised at he only had something like 39 catches at Ole Miss when he was in college. So I kind of expected him to be a raw, he was an athlete. That's why Bean drafted him. But I mean, he was he was giving Patrick Chung fits when they were playing the Pats. They were trying to match him up one-on-one, and there were a couple times he beat Marcus Peters too when they were playing the Ravens. Josh just missed him. So, for me, I'll be watching him pretty closely this year to see how he does, but he's going to need to fix the drops problem for sure.
We're talking about Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what a lot of people forget about Dawson Knox is that when he was at Ole Miss, he was in the same offense as DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. So he only had 39 catches, and I don't think he caught a touchdown at Ole Miss.
No, he's already I remember his first touchdown against the Bengals. I think he posted on Twitter. He's like, "So that's what a touchdown feels like."
What was that? Must have been his first touchdown since high school. Like that's crazy.
Exactly. But hey, you know what? If for every drop he makes, he's just got to make up with it with just like a murderous stiff arm. Like I'll accept it.
Another spectacular catch because he's good at making the hard catches. We know that. Like he's made
that's
so
the
many
thing
of those.
that baffles me about him because it's like he'll make that catch versus the Pats right before halftime, but right in his hands. It's almost like he's focusing on it too much. He's just kind of like I don't know. It doesn't add up.
He had two good catches against the Pats. I think the first one was from maybe another game, but he had to go over the shoulder one, and I think the first game there's that highlight where he's running, and all of a sudden he has to kind of jumps and moves around and makes a kind of a jumping diving catch. But yeah, I would love to see him just give Henry Anderson a stiff arm, even if it's after the whistle's already blown, because obviously
cheap shot.
Yeah, maybe he's. I doubt we'll see Henry Anderson guarding Knox, but it'd just be awesome. He just runs up and just stiff arms him down. But hey, just do it to him behind the back. The refs probably won't do anything about it, just like they did last time. So yeah, that's what I would love to see tomorrow, if anything.
I got a question. Are some people want to call Knox Rambo Knox? I feel like that nickname hasn't stuck with Buffalo.
I think it's just
what's your take on that wistful Papa Doc?
I mean, it doesn't flow that well, but if you watch him play, he's legit Rambo. He encapsulates it. He just barrels over people.
I also
he's looking for contact every play.
Because I remember watching Good Morning Football on NFL Network or something, and they were trying to push that nickname for him, but yet I haven't actually heard people, in Buffalo Fanatics really call him that, or people, on social media calling him that a lot. So I just interested to hear what people think on that. Hard Knocks, says Brian. I like that.
Hard Knocks. Brian's on fire.
Yeah, Ray McLeod's father is in. Ray McLeod II.
It would be his son, Jeremy.
No, because Ray's the third. That means his father is the second.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, I thought he was Ray the second.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Oh wait, I think it's the third. Ray McLeod. I don't know. Anyways,
I feel
he says
always the third.
Good comment and a good transition because as Cole Beasley might eat this game, their number 3 corner is probably Cheeks, so he might go off. It's a good assumption. I don't hear very often Cheeks.
You don't hear that, Jeremy? Not one of the cool kids, Jeremy.
Cheeks
is a lot around here.
I don't hear it a whole lot. I mean,
or trash juice.
Trash juice. I like that one.
That guy's trash juice.
Cheeks just sounds. That's. I don't know why, because I instantly just think of not these ones. It's almost like the word moist. It's almost like cheeks. I don't know. I like it though. I like it much better. Cheeks. I'm gonna start throwing that in there a lot more. I'm gonna annoy my fiance with it. So yeah, Cole Beasley and Stothy again. Yeah, you watched the. How do you think Cole Beasley's gonna do? How about just this season and tomorrow in general? Being the number 3. What do you think? Sorry, I don't know how to talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of stays around the same production that he had last year. I don't, I think he's gonna be in that 700-ish yard range. I think he was 6 to 7 last year, but rewatching the Jets game yesterday, it was almost every time they were in man coverage, Josh was looking his way, right away, right? And I don't know how much that changes with Diggs and John Brown now, but if he knows the blitz is coming and he sees that it's man, I'm going to be expecting him to go to Cole. And, he's just a great safety blanket for Josh to have in this offense. And I think he needs to use him more. I think he's almost underutilized him, and oftentimes I'd see him Josh lock in on a deep go route that's almost not even open, and he's got Cole Beasley wide open underneath. And I think it's a balance of hitting more deep balls, but also taking what the defense is giving you.
Yeah.
You don't always have to hit the 40-yard go. Live to fight another down.
Yeah, I agree. He kind of wants to go for like the extra base hit instead of sometimes just taking like the single.
And I think it's going to be even more pronounced this year with Diggs, right? They're going to be covering the deep intermediate routes, and the 3 to 4 to 5 yard routes are going to be there for the taking. It's just if he wants to take them.
Beasley's also just a different type of receiver that we have on this roster. He's a slot receiver. He's just kind of slippery. Like he gets open in slippery ways. He's not necessarily a good yards after the catch kind of guy, but to get open before he has the ball, he's just like a snake. He can just squirm anywhere on the field, get through people, and grab that ball. So he should be utilized this year, and he's our slippery little snake slot wide receiver, I guess. I don't know.
Slippery little snake slot. Say that 5 times fast. Can't even say it once.
I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if anyone agrees with me there, but
I was really bummed when we signed Cole Beasley and then he showed up to Buffalo and he shaved off all of his hair. It was like all short. I was like, oh, the heck. But he grew it out over the season, and now I can see he's got the locks going again.
He's back.
And somebody posted a picture of him, and he's like, does Beasley, I wish I pulled it up. I just thought of it. They said, does Beasley not look like McDermott, like with long hair? And I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I can't unsee this now. I don't know. Did you guys see that picture by any chance?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, it's not something I ever thought about, but then
I don't know if
maybe
I
because he said it, he put it in my head. So I'm looking at it and I was like, oh my God, he does. He's kind of like making the face. He's got like the stubble going. Now I just kind of wish like McDermott, had hair so he could grow it out like that. But
I wish I had hair too, man.
Yeah. I'd like to move on to Gabe.
It's nice,
Davis.
guys. It's nice.
Yeah. Satya, how much of Gabe Davis do you think that we'll see tomorrow?
I'm honestly curious about that myself.
Or just the entire year in general, really. Both questions.
I was trying to go back and look at how much they really utilized like Duke Williams or some of those fourth receivers last year, but it's kind of a different situation, obviously. We have 3 workhorses before. It was more, they didn't have that big physical receiver, so they figured a couple of weeks, the Tennessee game, the Houston game, we're going to need people that are going to make contested catches. But I think they're going to mix them in, man. From everything I've heard, he's been tearing it up, and I think you almost have to get him some game time experience. If you don't, it's a waste, right? So, yeah. Plus, you got 2. I think it's two of your receivers on contract years between John Brown and Cole Beasley. So you kind of got to see what you have.
Yeah, and I think especially if maybe we kind of get like a good lead going, I think maybe we'll see a little bit more of Gabe Davis too. Just to try to take more advantage of like the poor secondary and stuff like that. But I'm excited to see what he can do in a real game. So
yeah, I would agree. One thing I noticed kind of watching Thursday Night Football last night is just when we think about these receivers that are kind of below the depth chart behind guys like Stephon Diggs and John Brown, like those guys, those premier talents, they attract a lot of attention. And I saw last night in Thursday Night Football, there was this play where Tyreek Hill was attracting a lot of attention deep down the field, and Demarcus Robinson was open on a go route, and he nearly caught the touchdown. He dropped it, but that's the type of attention that a premier guy can bring, like Stephon Diggs, and those other guys like Gabe Davis, if he's on the field, John Brown, if he's on the field, they can get open and catch those balls.
Speaking of that catch, I have a question. I don't get that Demarcus Robinson touchdown that turned out not being one. You see the replay and you're like, oh yeah, he absolutely did not catch it. And then they call it a touchdown. They go back and then they reverse it. And then like the fans start booing. I think, how can you boo it? Like, it's so obvious that it's not a touchdown, It was like
fans aren't rational. Fans aren't rational, Jeremy. We're not rational.
It was the second dumbest thing that the fans booed that night.
Also, it took them like
yeah.
10 minutes to review that call for some reason.
Right?
I feel like
Yeah.
it took forever.
It was a while.
How do you not
It's
just like look
ridiculous.
up at the screen and be like, "Oh no, he didn't catch that. Never mind."
Yep.
Yeah. Like just stand up and look at the giant screen that everybody else. It's like we have to go behind these curtains, like the Wizard of Oz, and it's like, why? We all know what you're looking at. Like it's not a secret.
Is there not like a ref dialing in from New York? Like, hey guys, you're overthinking this. This was absolutely not a catch.
They sometimes I feel like they need that, which is sad, but I don't get it. It's like, why did they go in there?
What do you think they're doing on the line? Just kind of talking about, what they're going to do for dinner tonight, or like what are those conversations like? Because they go way too long. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. It was like the Bengals when they were on the clock for the first overall selection. It's like, come on, we know what you're doing. Like they took up like all 10 minutes. It's like, just come out and say you picked Joe Burrow. All right, come on, we don't care. But God, I forgot what we were talking about. Oh yeah, but Max, I that exact play talking about how Tyreek Hill can draw like the defense to him and open things up. But yeah, somebody said, Gabe Davis might not get many snaps because McDermott doesn't like to play rookies. I disagree. He's had a good camp. I think even if it's just 5 snaps, I think he'll definitely get some. I think he's earned it a little bit. And obviously, John Brown will probably need a break eventually. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. And then the bottom, obviously, Andre Roberts, who was named a captain, by the way. The captains were named, something we forgot about. So Andre Roberts, he's our kicker punt returner. I don't see him doing much, but we're left with Isaiah McKenzie and oh man, who else am I forgetting?
Hodgins
went on IR.
Oh, he did go on IR.
That's all of them. I'm sorry. So it's just McKenzie and Roberts. So McKenzie, obviously, Dable loves the gadgetry. McKenzie's back on. I don't know. Honestly, last year, he makes some cool plays every now and then, but I felt like his snap count versus his production, I didn't really care for it. It'll be interesting to see how he's used this year when we have like a lot more weapons. So that's all I have to say about Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like his contributions were a little underrated last year. They used him in a lot of, like shovel passes that he was pretty successful in, some trick screen sort of plays, but it almost becomes with the guys you have now, if you put him on the field and intend to do that, is that like a telltale sign? And then if not, is that worth putting him on the field over those other guys? Probably not. But I did like keeping him on the roster just as a almost hedge to backup slot guy. Because if Cole Beasley goes down, people were mentioning Gabe Davis, but I feel like that's kind of a lot to put on him. He didn't really play that role in college, so
yeah, a lot of people. You're talking about the gadget role, right?
Yeah, just slot receiver too.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's him and Beasley. So I think we got enough there. So finishing up, well, I know we talked about Dawson Knox. We got Tyler Kroft. A quick discussion about him. I mean, maybe we'll see him. Maybe he'll do absolutely nothing. Sorry, I thought my headphones went out. Yeah, again, maybe Kroft will get some stats.
Tyler Kroft's just a boring guy. He's not exciting, flashy Rambo Knox or Jugger Knox or Hard Knox. He's just a boring, vanilla former Cincinnati Bengal. I mean, he catches 1 touchdown last year, right? And that was cool. But this is the Dawson Knox show, so he's got to be. He's the tight end we all want to succeed. None of us really care for Tyler Kroft too much. I mean, I'm sure he's a good guy, but like,
I don't know, Stothy. Did you do a big Tyler Kroft film thread from the 2019
No
season?
Tyler Kroft threads.
That would have been a short.
I mean, there's only so much you can do breaking down that 1 touchdown catch against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Maybe
can't break that down for 20 minutes.
Some sideline film. It's like, here's Tyler Kroft. He's watching before the snap, and it's a good play out there. You can see him jumping up and down. He's excited for the gain. That's it.
Spit out some sunflower seeds. Took a sip of Gatorade, and
that's the kind of film we should do, Max. We'll do sideline film. Everybody talks about the on the field. We got to get into the
into the interpersonal connections on the sideline, because that's what makes a team. It's all about team chemistry. If you're talking with a teammate after a play, you're building that chemistry with them.
Tony V says
that's how
Croft.
you build your team. It's not about the plays on the field.
Tony V says Croft isn't on IR yet. No, I think you know those devices where people wear where it says like if you're too close to somebody. I think it goes off if you're too close to Tyler Croft's foot or like his lower body. They're like stay away from it, like more than 6 feet. I think they have to stay like 12 feet away from Tyler Croft's like feet or ankles. But yeah, I guess it's a matter of time.
Stothy, have you done a Lee Smith penalties breakdown? Penalty.
Oh my
film
god,
thread.
dude! Don't even get me going on Lee Smith holding calls.
I mean, go ahead.
Just
Go ahead.
infuriated.
I want to hear
I
you
don't know.
going.
I don't know if it's because all the coaches and everyone like talk about the value that he adds, and I kind of get it. He's used as a sixth lineman, but like every time I hear his name and a penalty, I just get going. I can't do it. Like there was one drive I think I'm remembering where he had like 2 holding calls on the same drive, and I'm just like, dude, you're killing us right now. And like that is your role. Right. Yeah,
I genuinely think his role, he's the penalties man and he's the blocking man, but I think his most important role though is to be the scapegoat of this team, so that whenever we lose, if we ever lose or something goes wrong, Sean McDermott can go into the press conference and say it was all Lee Smith's fault because he got those penalties. You got to blame the guy on someone. He's the fall guy. That's
McDermott,
what Lee Smith is. I put that in.
McDermott would never call out a player. He'd blame it on himself, talk about how he's got to watch the tape, and
then go into the locker room and verbally abuse Lee Smith for a half hour. That's what he'd do.
He's like,
a
Lee,
$4 million fall
one
guy.
penalty. Yeah. So, anyways, I put up Lone Wolf's comments. This is hilarious. Where he says Croft's job is to make sure the Gatorade jugs are full. Should we be wasting a spot on the 53 to make sure the Gatorade jugs are full? Hey, electrolytes are very important. All right, hydration.
But also remember, Spin 0481 came in and said, Lone Wolf, that's not a good idea. And I'm with Spin here. Sorry, Lone Wolf.
I don't think he lifts them. He just goes and just like checks on them, and if they're empty, he lets somebody know, and then he like steps away from it.
And reminder, smash those likes. Smash those likes.
We haven't done any likes. If you are excited for Buffalo Bills football tomorrow, smash the like. All right.
Don't just tap them. I want smashing. I want smashing through the table. I want smashing through your computer screen.
Break
on the
your
like button.
computer. Just buy another one. It's fine.
I'm kind of interested to see, how they're going to use Zach Moss and if he's going to be the guy for them on third down. Because don't get me wrong, I love Singletary. For a third-round running back, he was incredible last year. And the Jets game was almost his. They only gave him 4 carries, and he went for 70 yards. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do anything up the middle versus the Jets D line. Like, granted, they aren't the best at just straight up those 3 guys pass rush. You're not going to generate a lot. Like they weren't really putting a lot of pressure on Josh. But in terms of run defense, like with Henry Anderson, Quinnen Williams, those guys, they're pretty stout up the middle. So I'm going to be interested to see how they use Moss. And one of my biggest things with Singletary last year, and I think it was a concern of his coming out of college, was his hands were not great. You could just tell even the catches that he was making, it was like, kind of shaky. It wasn't sure-handed. And we'll see if that's something he can rectify. I saw he was working the jugs one practice like all day. But curious to see how they use Moss tomorrow.
Yeah. A couple people are a little like, they're not very optimistic about how many snaps or touches Moss will get. I know he's a rookie, but I mean, I think he'll get I think he'll get at least 7 carries at least.
And part of the reason for that, Jeremy, is I think I don't see this coaching staff. I don't see Sean McDermott saying, okay, Singletary's the bell cow back. He's gonna carry it all day. I don't see that happening. I think he's gonna divvy up the carries to that running back room, whether we see Maybe we'll see some TJ Yeldon action. I think we'll see a lot of Zach Moss too,
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna run like Singletary into the ground just because like Zach Moss needs to earn it,
Yeah.
We saw last year, I think what they want in their running back groups, they like that slippery guy like Singletary, and then they like the power back like Gore. And you saw just how many opportunities Gore was getting, like despite like the lack of production. So I think now they want to keep doing that same thing this year, and they have somebody who can actually do it now with Zach Moss. So I think they're going to do it.
Oh, sorry, I meant to put this one up. If you watch Thursday night's game, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he was a workhorse that Thursday. But one thing I'll say, he didn't get all the touches. Darrell Williams was also on the field for a lot of passing downs, got a lot of touches too. So I don't think it's going to be one guy gets the majority of the carries. I think it's going to be maybe 60-40, probably it'll probably be closer to that, closer to 50-50 than it will be to like 70-30.
And there were talks of Bean trying to get on the Leonard Fournette train, right? I thought someone tweeted that the Bills,
I guess it's like due diligence.
Ask about him.
It sounded like it was like the due diligence, like you have to. Right. I did not want it at all the second I saw it, and of course there has to be those people who are like, should we go after Fournette? I was like, no. I
mean, I wasn't for it, but it just points more to, he wants a third running back. He's almost, going for a running back by committee approach, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then Max, you accidentally brought up one of those, and I think it was Lone Wolf asking if Yeldon will even be active. I don't know. He was inactive plenty of games last year. Like, I'm sorry, as like RB3, he was inactive a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was inactive tomorrow.
It'll probably, Tywan Jones will probably be active, I would assume.
Oh, he'll be absolutely every game because he's like our
he's
gunner.
A special teams guy, yeah. So
I absolutely agree. But I'm excited to see both of them, honestly. I really am. And like you said, Stati, a while ago, he had 4 carries for like 75 yards. And we hid like Singletary week 1 last year for like the first half of the game. He didn't get any touches until like the second half. And I think that all the Jets were like, who the fuck is this guy? So I think we really caught him off guard. I don't think we'll catch him off guard this season. I think they're completely ready. I think they're absolutely going to be ready for him.
Are the Jets completely ready for what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't think that's true at all, Jeremy. I don't think they're ready for anything.
Well, I think their defensive line might be the best part of their team. So I wouldn't really, say something. So I think they could be ready for Singletary because that's, their thing. But Greg Williams, and I think he will do his best with what he has to prepare for Devin Singletary.
Yeah, it's got to be so depressing to be a Jets fan right now. Like, I can't imagine. You're rolling out Brashard Perryman, and like it's just a skeleton crew, plus like 100% turnover on your O-line. The game is just going to be a nightmare tomorrow because there's going to be no excitement for them. It's just going to be, let's see if we can get 4 yards with Le'Veon Bell, kind of shorten up these second downs, third downs, and then hit Crowder underneath. Rinse, repeat, throw in a couple screen passes. He's just not going to have time to throw downfield. Plus, they don't have the personnel.
Yeah, can you imagine being Sam Darnold right now, Jets quarterback? Because he's very good friends. I talked a lot about this in my article this week for the Buffalo Fanatics. He is pretty good friends with Josh Allen. They went through the draft process together. They became close. And now you're going to go into week 1 and see one of your best friends rolling up with a team that has built their offense year after year around Josh Allen to make Josh Allen the best he can be. And Sam Darnold, on the other hand, is in the Jets locker room looking over at Brashard Perryman and an injured Denzel Mims that's not even going to play.
Yeah.
And probably a disgruntled Le'Veon Bell because he's upset that Jamal Adams left and he's upset that he's on the lousy New York Jets. And Sam Darnold has to look at these guys in the eye and he has to say, all right, guys, we're going to go out there and we're going to do this. We're going to rally the troops and we're going to get past the Buffalo Bills. Like, I just can't imagine, man.
It's like,
and meanwhile, your head coach is over there, like in the corner, like with smelling salts, and he's wide-eyed and he's googly-eyed, and no one knows what the hell's going on. Like, It's gonna be
It's like
wild.
if they both. It's like if like Darnold and Allen grew up in like an orphanage together, and one day their person's like, "Hey, you guys are both getting adopted today," and they're like, "Great," and Allen's like, "Where's my new family?" And it's like it's this nice couple from the suburbs, and they already got like a college plan for you. They got you a bicycle to ride, and then Darnold's like, "Where's mine?" And they're like, "See those two crackheads over there?" They're like, "Go," and he's like, "Okay." Like that's the outlook if I'm him. But so
Oh,
we spent a lot of
poor
time
Jets
talking about the
fans.
we've spent a lot of time talking about the offense. Uh, we got a little bit of time to talk about the defense. Personally, I'm an offensive guy. I like offense. I don't know about you guys. So before we get into our Q&A, let's kind of go over like the defense. You know, Josh Norman went on IR, so he'll be on the IR for 3 weeks, and then he will be able to come back from it. So Max looks like CB2 tomorrow.
Levi Wallace, baby, let's
Levi
go! I am
Wallace.
the biggest Levi Wallace fan. Yeah, Levi's gonna ball out. He's gonna. I mean, he doesn't have a tough matchup. He's gonna be against not Denzel Mims, apparently. I don't know who's behind Denzel Mims on the depth chart. Gonna be honest. So he's against a no-name wide receiver. Yeah, and he should be a beast as long as he doesn't land awkwardly after an interception like he did in Week 17 and
Yeah, he just
hurt
like it was
his
weird. He
ankle
just
or whatever
stepped
that was. I
wrong.
forgot it was. It was his knee, I think.
Yeah, he just like
Yeah,
stepped
yeah.
wrong.
But that won't
Um,
happen because he's a new man. He put on 10 pounds of muscle this offseason, so he's going to be a beast. He's going to be
And
fighting off wide receivers, and he's going to get 15 interceptions.
and the Bills called up Cam Lewis, undrafted last year out of University of Buffalo. I heard he looked pretty good in camp. I was a little surprised with all the injuries our cornerback room is facing that they didn't maybe bring on another one. But I mean, maybe they thought they can get him on the practice squad and bring him up. So, I mean, obviously, we want Levi Wallace to do well, but it would be interesting to see maybe again if we get a good lead, maybe towards the end of the game. Cam
Levi
Lewis
Wallace
gets
isn't coming out of
some
the game.
snaps.
I'm sorry, Jeremy. He's
Yeah.
taking all the snaps, man. He's taking all the
Uh,
snaps. He's not coming out. He's going to be a beast. All right, don't say that.
Stop the I saw you
No
grinning.
offense
Is there
to
any
Cam
comments
Lewis.
that were catching you?
Tony B. If I were Sam Darnold, I'd go to a COVID party tonight.
Dude,
that's
I think I saw
hilarious.
something on Twitter. It was like, is this the Sam Darnold immune system revenge tour? We're talking a little about revenge tours earlier in the vidcast. It's definitely a revenge tour for all the antibodies in Sam Darnold's immune system.
Who's back of the year? Sam Darnold's immune system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as our cornerbacks room, the safeties, we have the best safety tandem. I'm sorry, one of the best with Poyer and Hyde. A little surprised that Poyer was named a captain over Hyde. I don't know why. I thought Hyde would have been. He was one of my top picks as like a defensive captain to replace Zoe.
Yeah.
But hey.
Did you make like a captain's ranking, Jeremy, of like who you thought was going to be the captains? You seem really into this captain stuff, man. I really don't care about captains.
I forgot all about it, and then it was like this week. I was like, oh yeah, they haven't announced captains, and it was only interesting because I knew we had 2 spots open after Zoe and Hauschka left. So I was just curious.
And you looked over at your captain's big board that you have on your wall in your bedroom. And you're like, okay,
yeah, my captain's power
not
ranking.
Zoe, he's out.
Yeah,
I guess
I'm a
I
really
never
big
paid
captain.
attention to how many captains there were. Like around
6.
here, a bunch of people were making a big deal about Cam Newton making captains. I was like, dude, there's 12 of them. Like, what does that tell you?
Are there?
Exactly.
Do the Patriots have 12? Because we just have 6.
No, I think it was like eight or 9.
Okay, that's kind of weird. I mean, I know he's the quarterback, but I was kind of talking about this. Usually, if it's like a player's first year, it's kind of rare that they get it. But yeah, so I thought Micah Hyde would have been a good one. Maybe Mitch Morse. You know, the center is kind of like the quarterback of the offensive line. But Jerry Hughes was also named one. I'm actually not too surprised. He's been on this team for a while, and he's been very vocal this off season with like a lot of the stuff that's going on. So he got it. But sorry to sidetrack you guys with the boring captain's talk that you care so little about. So linebacker, I guess,
Wolf
yeah.
says we have 7 captains.
Oh, do we have 7?
Captain check.
Well, I can't read and I'm not good at counting either. So
Yeah, that's two of.
I can barely talk. So
I do the counting and reading around here on this podcast.
Yeah, my fiance is sitting right here reading things to me. She's off screen. But yeah, I guess, there's a lot of returning. Like, the biggest difference is this defensive line. It looks like Vernon Butler may be out. So, but hey, we got Ed Oliver, we got Harrison Phillips coming back. We got Quentin Jefferson, and they called up Justin Zimmer, I guess. Oh man, sorry, I got distracted by it. But yeah, defensive line. I'm excited to see this defensive line. I will be honest. Just all the pressure that they're going to be able to bring. Hughes, Addison, Ed Oliver. I'd like to see what Epinesa can do. I'm excited for that. What do you guys think about the defensive line?
I'm super pumped. I think we got more depth. We got Vernon Butler and Quentin Jefferson this offseason, obviously, and AJ Epinesa. So I think we got more depth. And I think we're gonna have a good rotation of guys that come in and out of that lineup and are able to produce for us. I don't see an issue there on that defensive line at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really impressive to see the depth that Dean's built on the defensive line to kind of fit McDermott's rotational strategy. And I'll say tomorrow, I'm going to be defensively, I'll be looking at, without Vernon Butler, or, if he doesn't play, how do we hold up versus the run? Because that's going to be what's really important versus the Jets. And then not having, Lorenzo Alexander being gone. I didn't realize how great he was at run fitting until I started going through some of the defensive tape, and he was unbelievable. So we'll see what AJ Klein can do, but he's got big shoes to fill.
Gregory here has an interesting, because I've kind of seen this. It says Epinesa will most likely be a scratch. That would be surprising for me. I mean, he was a second round pick. He was touted as possibly going in the first. I know it's kind of a crowded defensive end room. We're carrying 5, but you think, how likely that is, Stathi?
I don't see it happening. It's certainly possible, but I guess we'll see. I don't really have a lot of insight into that, to be honest.
Yeah, like I said, I would just be surprised. Honestly,
they can certainly get by without him, right? But it's one of those things where, if you think you're going to be up on the Jets, it would be good to throw him in, towards the end of the game, get him some game experience.
I just want to quickly
go ahead, Max.
Oh, I just want to quickly pull up this comment because I can't let this comment go to waste. Because bring back Kelvin Benjamin. Is he parking cars right now? Is he doing that for a living?
And he's not even getting paid for it. He's just I think he's just doing it.
The Bills as a courtesy could bring Kelvin Benjamin back into the organization, into One Bills Drive, put him in the cafeteria, and have him cook for these players. I don't he's a guy who loves to eat.
He'd get fired because he would just be eating off of
stuff.
So can I get some biscuits? He's no, those are mine.
Everyone deserves a second chance. This might be Kelvin Benjamin's 5th or 6th chance, but give him that chance. Maybe it'll humble him. Maybe he'll be like, you know what? I don't want to be here in the cafeteria. I want to be out here grinding with my teammates. And then maybe he'll become a huge comeback story.
J.O. is a good question. We kind of skipped over the entire offensive line, but he says, is Brian Winters starting at right guard or Cody? That is interesting to talk about. That's something we're not going to know until just the very first snap, right?
We will find out.
I don't know. I don't think Brian Winters is going to start. I didn't hear many great things about him. I don't know. I would much rather see Cody Ford and Nseki or some variation of Darrell Williams. But yeah, that's one of those things we're just gonna have, that will be exciting to see when that first offensive line snap happens, to see who's starting.
I want to correct Bruce exclusive here. We have 3 tight ends on our roster. We have Tyler Croft, we have Dawson Knox, and Lee Smith is not a tight end. He's the penalty and blocking man. We've already established that.
Holding specialist.
Holding specialist, yes.
But Bruce, thanks for being in. One of my favorite podcasters with Bruce exclusive. Happy to have you in here. But 4 tight ends, the fourth one being apparently like Reggie Gilliam. But anyways, yeah, not enough room because that's probably where Benjamin's at right now. I wonder what he looks like if he's even. I look at the Jets wide receiver room and I'm like, if you can't get a workout with the Jets in this past week, then your career's probably done.
Yeah, you're done, man.
But
if you have to ask if Kelvin Benjamin's in playing shape, you're not. It's not a good thing.
Oh man!
If you're even considering picking up the phone and dialing Kelvin Benjamin's number, you probably should be demoted to the CFL. Like I don't, it's not really a joke anymore.
Yeah.
So let's get into our Q&A part. We're at the hour point. Guys, please get your questions in to kind of round out like this last 30 minutes or so that we like to do. While you guys are thinking of your questions, I mean, Gilliam is somebody else we forgot to talk about. It'll be interesting to see him as well. I know he's listed as a tight end. He's got a tight end's number, but we do not have a fullback. So obviously he'll be doing that. But also mention Gilliam is faster than like both our running backs and like 1 or 2 of our wide receivers. So I'll be really interested to see how they use them. You guys got anything to add about?
Maybe he's a do-it-all guy. Like we don't know. We haven't seen this. This is what sucks about not having preseason is we don't even know where Gilliam's really going to be utilized. Like as a fullback, as a tight end.
Is that true? So he clocked a 40 faster than Zach Moss and Singletary.
Yeah, he was like a high 4.5, like a 4.58 or something, I think. Just under like the 4.6, and Moss and Singletary both at 4.6. Isaiah Hodgins was like a 4.6. Technically he's on IR, but so yeah, he is faster than some of our guys. Funny story, Max, I don't know if you saw it in our Buffalo Fanatics chat. Kevin Gerard, he is our Dolphins fan, but he contributes at Buffalo Fanatics. Bruce says, give me Gilliam 4.51. Oh, 4.51. It's even faster than I thought. Versus the Jets' lack of linebacker depth. Okay, so he was even faster, I guess. I thought he was a high 4.5, so 4.51. But anyways, Kevin Gerard, did you see it, Max? He critiqued a video of Reggie Gilliam, his like route running.
Yeah, and, I saw that.
Yep. He was being totally fair, and I guess Reggie Gilliam saw it and liked it, and Kevin Garf, I guess, kind of felt bad afterwards and said that if Gilliam made the 53, that he would buy a Reggie Gilliam jersey. And he said that he's going to hold on to that.
Well, I tell you what, if Gilliam liked that critique that Gerard had, then I bet Gilliam watched that and was like, you know what, this guy's right. I need to work on this. And that's probably part of the reason why he made the 53-man roster. So I think Gilliam's got to credit Gerard there for whatever he does tomorrow, if he's even on the field. Yeah. But he's such an interesting character because if you talk about his speed, and you talk about him being listed as a fullback and a tight end, dude, he might be doing everything and anything out there on the field tomorrow. We don't know. Like he could be the quarterback. Like he sounds like he could do it all.
Whoa,
like
we talking about a quarterback?
How is Dable gonna utilize this guy? Like it's gonna be really interesting to see, what happens there. And is he another kind of gadget guy? Question mark. Like is like not an Isaiah McKenzie type, obviously, but like he's just an interesting player that I don't know if any of us know what role he's going to have yet.
Let me see. I think there's some question says, does the weather play a big role? That's what Tom threw out. So will it? I mean, the only time I can think about the weather playing a big role was like last year was the Eagles game. And I mean, that's like the only time, but just in recent, crazy winds that game. But I mean, did you guys notice like a big deal as far as like the wind goes? I feel like, maybe Josh threw the ball a little more than he should, and we probably didn't run it as much as we should. I don't know.
I'd say
play in the NFL.
You'd rather have rain than wind, I believe. If it's really gusty winds, that's going to be tough on the kicking game, obviously, and the passing game. I'd rather just be kind of soaking wet with no wind.
Yeah, Tony B, another hilarious one. Just checked my email and found a spam piece from the Jets looking for wide receivers. Make $550,000 working from home. Tony
B is also on fire tonight in the comments.
He's heating up.
Okay, so a lot of people were talking about fans. Someone said, "Are fans allowed in the stadium?" Because there were fans in Arrowhead on Thursday. That's for the city, the state to decide. Some fans are bringing in. I know they had about 15,000 at Arrowhead. The Bills are not letting anybody in the stadiums. The governor, he's pretty tough on preventing the COVID spread. However you feel about it, the numbers went up like from 1 to 3%. I heard so. He's being pretty strict about it. So there are no fans allowed. And there's even saying if you show up, you will be arrested, I guess. So, don't get arrested, you guys. Stay home and watch the game. Cheer them on from home. And then maybe afterwards, when you're really drunk, then take an Uber to the stadium and run around and see if the cops can chase you. Just kidding. Don't do that.
But be socially distant. If you do that, be socially distant while you're running around the field with the cops chasing you. Lone Wolf has a question. Will we get a special teams TD this week? I say yes. I think we will do a fake field goal. Tyler Bass will get pitched the ball from the holder. He will run towards the line of scrimmage, hurdle over the center and the defensive lineman, stiff arm a safety, or one of those other guys that's kind of like back there, like crouching down, like waiting for the kick to go up, and he'll go to the end zone for a touchdown. So that's going to happen.
So are you saying they're gonna line up for a field goal?
Yeah, and then
they're gonna snap it to him.
They're gonna snap it to the holder, and instead the holder's gonna pick up the ball and just pitch it back to Tyler Bass, who's gonna run it kind of up the middle and hurdle over the center. If that makes sense.
So
I don't know if I'm that starving for dopamine, but I'm actually interested to see Tyler Bass kick this year. Like, I was into the kicking battle.
Oh yeah, I was too, man.
Like, it was borderline concerning.
Yeah, you do know if you're trying to if you're searching through Twitter, like just looking to see if Tyler Bass made a kick on a Wednesday in August, like if you're that starved for Bills content, it's a little concerning, but I think we all are right now. So,
day, man.
Dustin asked, do we use Gilliam as a tight end more or a fullback more? And what will our offense look like? I think we use Gilliam more as a fullback. Last season, I think we used 11 personnel 70% of the time. And so I think the majority of the time, if we're only going to have one tight end in, it's going to be Knox or it's going to be Croft. I don't see fullback or Gilliam really getting used in that. So I absolutely think he's going to be used as a fullback more, especially since we don't have one, technically.
Let's see here. What will be the longest field goal Bass kicks this year and makes? The Bassmaster can kick it from out of the stadium pretty much. He's got like a 60. He can make it from 60 yards, like on the practice field. So I'll say 59. I say if we really need a field goal late in the game and it would be a 59 field goal, I think McDermott says, you know what? I think we have enough faith in this kid. I think he can pull that off.
I think he makes a 69-yard field goal.
Nice.
Well done.
That's just, yeah.
It was there for the taking. I'm surprised it didn't get snatched up first.
Ice train.
I guess I'm just a little more mature than Jeremy.
Just a little bit. 58, so pretty close.
I'm going 63.
Everyone just 63. Send numbers in the chat.
Yeah. How about this? Maybe we can do a quick. Oops, wrong one. Sorry, Richard, but 62. I like it. I meant this one. Sometimes that happens. Don't play Moss in fantasy. Are you guys doing fantasy at all, Max, Sathi?
Oh, I'm doing fantasy.
I had Clyde for the first time.
I had Clyde Edwards-Helaire Thursday night, and he went off. He got a touchdown. He should have had like 3 touchdowns, though, but he still did great for me, so I'm psyched about my pick there.
I'm doing DraftKings this year. The league I usually play with, they decided to try DraftKings instead of like we usually do it through like Yahoo or something. I don't know. I'm not super excited about DraftKings. Like I kind of like having my lineup and I'm like sticking with that the entire time. So I'm trying that. But as far as Moss, I probably would not pick Moss in fantasy, at least not for week 1. I think you got to see what he can do. Unless for some reason he can pull a Devin Singletary and turn 4 carries into 75 yards and maybe get a touchdown. But that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. I mean, I drafted Moss, but if you're drafting him, he's like your RB 4 or 5. not
Yeah,
typically starting those week 1 anyways. It's more like a wait and see. Like I think they have a pretty clear role carved out for him, and it's just kind of see what he can do, and then throw him in a flex later on.
We have a Jets fan. I'm sorry, Andrew says, yeah, he's in here. He's trying to get the other Jets fans in the comments riled up. Hey, welcome. We're not going to hate. Happy to have some of our opponents in here. But I don't know how many other Jets fans are in here. I don't think you're going to get that chant going.
Andrew, how's your morale?
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, no, I can tell Andrew, you definitely weren't here for like the first hour of this of this vidcast, because you would have been out immediately, because we were really roasting the Jets, man. I'm sorry.
We weren't roasting them, Max. We were just talking about them.
Yeah, it's true. We were just talking about them and stating facts about them. There wasn't really a roast.
Yeah. But somebody mentioned earlier, since if the Jets fan is still in here, they said that GM, they have a GM that they think is pretty capable of bringing the players they need. I agree. I think the Jets have a good GM. It's just like he's got Adam Gase between him and is the ice cream man going by, Max?
The ice cream truck is outside my house, so hold on for 5 minutes. He's gone.
What are you going with? The baseball glove?
I don't know. That's a tough choice.
Connor says the baseball glove. Andrew Walker, my grandma can throw better than Darnold. Ooh. That's maybe your grandma's really athletic. I mean, who knows? I'd like to see that though. Fantasy.
That's this year's Browns.
That's this year's Browns. Yeah, maybe. Oh God. How's that for Browns to be kind of like that label for just like the bad teams? Unfortunate. So yeah, back to fantasy. Stati, are you doing fantasy? Sorry, I forgot to ask you.
I am. Okay. I have a couple leagues. I have my high school and college league. I have Mike Evans and Cortland Sutton in one league, and they just both got dusted like midweek this week. So
any Bills players? Do you have any Bills players on yours?
I got Josh in one of my leagues. I have Zach Moss in both leagues, and then when I was getting to kind of later round wideouts, John Brown was just sitting there, and he had like 1,100 yards and 6 TDs last year. Like, granted, his role in the offense, probably diminishes, but also who knows if you're doubling Stephon Diggs. I trust him way more than I trust some of the other guys that were floating around in that area. Plus, you look at him at like wide receiver, 4 or 5 on your roster. It's more just if someone gets injured or, you're thin at the flex position, I think you can count on him.
My last 2 years I've played fantasy, I've picked up Josh Allen as a free agent after the fact, and he's always ended up both years being like my starter for the majority of the season. And one of those years, last year, I picked like Carson Wentz first, which you think like, no, he'd probably be good. And the year before that, I think I went with Kirk Cousins. And both times I ended up going to Josh Allen for like the majority of it. Max, any Bills players on your fantasy team?
So I was going to try to draft Josh Allen this year in fantasy. I'm in a league with my high school friends. And like I said, they're all Patriots fans. So I figured Josh Allen would be sitting there pretty low. But actually, one of them apparently did their research this offseason and picked him at a good value spot before I could get him. So a little mad about that. They also picked Stephon Diggs. So they have this one of the opponents in my league has the Josh Allen Stephon Diggs combo. So I'm a little scared about that. But I do have Devin Singletary on my roster, so I'm excited about that.
We have some questions, but we also have some predictions, which I'm liking to see. So also throw out your predictions for tomorrow's game, and I want to call out some of those. But I will add that for this week in DraftKings, because of the Jets defense, I got Josh Allen, Gabe Davis, and Stephon Diggs. Again, I just feel like with the Jets defense, Josh Allen, he can throw, he can run. With Stephon Diggs, again, I think they're going to want to show off their new toy. I think he's going to get a good amount of targets, some touchdowns. I think that's a safe bet. And then with Gabe Davis, with DraftKings, it was just like how much money I had left. I was like, I had to pick up like a $3,000 receiver, so I just went with him. Just
so you're gonna start Gabe Davis like in DraftKings.
Well, you have like 3 wide receivers in DraftKings. So
Okay.
yeah, it was with my budget because I went pretty
Yeah.
heavy. Like
No,
You
you
went
could
heavy.
afford.
yeah,
Okay.
so I had like 3 like positions at the end that I just kind of had to fill. And
Yep.
my logic for the first time was like, you're likely to probably have a couple positions who aren't going to perform well anyway. So I just went with like some cheap options. So some predictions. I kind of want to throw those out there. Question and a prediction. Somebody says how many? Okay, George
Oh,
said my
sorry.
prediction 35-3.
I like
Lone
that.
Wolf says how many sacks do we get tomorrow? Somebody else projected Addison. George also says Addison will get 2.5 sacks tomorrow. So let's do some predictions here, guys. Like how many sacks do you think the Bills get tomorrow?
I'm gonna say 4 sacks.
That's exactly what I'm gonna say at least 4. And I feel like it's a decent amount. It's maybe a little on the conservative side.
Yeah.
I want to say at least 4.
How about so for my 4, I'm gonna say 3 come from defensive linemen. I'm gonna say 1 comes from Matt Milano.
Going 6.
Just why not? 6.
One from them.
I think they're bringing the heat.
What was that?
Levi Wallace gonna get any sacks?
Teron Johnson, man, that cornerback blitz. He's fire off the edge.
We got 6 from Jacob Newman and Curves. 6. I got another 6. So some 6. I like 6. Hey, I would be pretty happy with 6. And anybody who has Buffalo's defense in their fantasy, that 6 would be a good one. Some score predictions. Let's see. I've seen a couple of those. Let's pull up Lone Wolves because he's thrown out a couple that we can all just talk about. Allen goes 24 for 34, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing. Bills win 31-12. I'd be very happy with that.
Very specific. I like it. Yeah, it's a great performance. We don't need 300 yards. 276 will suffice.
Again, with the weather, who knows how the game plan will change, but I think 276 would be good. That would be almost his second most, right? I think his highest, Josh Allen, Jesus, is 280. I think he got 280 in the wild card. I can't recall, but 276.
One thing I'd like to mention as we kind of wind down here with score predictions and stuff is that I believe this has the potential, and I talked about this in my column this week, this has the potential to be like basically week 1 Ravens versus Dolphins last year, if anyone remembers that game, where it was like Ravens 59, Dolphins 10. Because I truly believe that this is the type of game where this could swing both teams in complete opposite directions for the rest of the year. If the Bills come out, on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders, and we put up points like crazy, this could be the momentum that we need to go through the rest of the season and destroy the competition. Whereas on the Jets, this is the exact type of tough opponent that you're going to have to face week 1 and just absolutely ruin your composure and just absolutely tank you for the rest of the season. So I think that I'm not saying that a 59-10 scoreline will happen. I think it's possible.
How about interceptions? You guys, how many interceptions do we think? I mean, if we put enough, if you put enough pressure in Sam Darnold, he can be an interception machine. So how many times do you think we'll hear that Ghostbusters song tomorrow?
2 on Sam.
Do you think 2?
2.
Okay.
I'm gonna just only 1. I'll give Sam the
1.
benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I mean, they are going to be running a lot, I feel like, especially if it's raining.
Yeah, I think they'll run a little more. I would like to see it, as far as passing touchdowns, I would like to see 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I want
to see 3 passing.
I would like to see 3 passing touchdowns from Allen and no rushing touchdowns, because I'd like to see a game where he doesn't really use his legs as much. Not to say that I don't love watching him use his legs, but I'd like to see him, change it up and try to just, use the air to get all his yards.
Yeah, I agree. For me, I don't want him to like not use his legs, just because. I mean, if the opportunity's there, go. I think he'll always have less passing touchdowns than he could have, because he's going to take him away with his, he's going to take him away with his legs, because he's going to get those rushing touchdowns. And I think that's just his mentality. If he sees a way to score, he's like, I don't think he cares about his passing number statistics. It's like, he's like, I'll pick up a rushing touchdown. I don't care. So I think he'll always have a little bit less passing touchdowns because he's not afraid to run the ball. So, Stothy, how many passing touchdowns would you like to see tomorrow?
From Josh? I'd like to see 3. Yeah. I'd like to see him
unless
run
Abel
less.
throws up a trick play and John Brown maybe gets a passing touchdown. Yeah, maybe he'll get one.
I think I've said this before. I think the deep ball to the fullback, Reggie Gilliam, still in the cards. It will happen. It will be completed this time.
I think they should work out a trick play where Deion Dawkins gets a passing touchdown.
How about Cody Ford? Let's get all the offensive linemen involved.
Yeah.
Let's get a passing touchdown for each starting offensive lineman this year. Let's do that. Let's make that our goal.
I get Morse one being the center.
That would
Get
be
it done.
impressive.
He's like,
Get it done somehow. Scheme it
block.
up, Abel.
If we
and
could
then
have
him
a
and
season,
Josh have to swap out while doing a little flea flicker, and then he's just like,
if we
boom.
can have a season where we get Cody Ford, John Feliciano, Mitch Morse, Quentin Spain, and Deion Dawkins all to catch one singular touchdown in the season, I don't care if we go 4-12. That would be awesome. That would be so cool.
This is you guys are tonight with these comments. Anyone else find it ironic that McDermott decided to go in all white unis against Darnold in the home opener? I didn't know we were doing white on white. I was looking today to see if they mentioned that, but
that's a good smart pickup there by James, because I didn't think of that. That is some next level McDermott processing right there.
Next level trolling right there by
next
McDermott.
level.
And whoops, sorry, I meant to get somebody else. Darnold's going to be seeing ghosts. Absolutely. And let's kind of build on Tilt Money. So we've got 50 likes. Good job to everyone. Keep smashing it. If you love seeing the Bills in those white on white uniforms and you're hoping we get Sam Darnold seeing ghosts tomorrow, smash that like button.
Smash that like. Smash that like.
Yes.
Smash it.
All right. Well, I think might be run down. Any other last questions? Get them in. I think we're going to wrap this up here about 4:30. Stothy, thank you for joining us.
7:30. West Coast boys.
Stothy, thanks again for joining us again, guys. If you aren't following Stothy, please do. Again, the film threads alone, how long does it take to put one of those film threads together?
I can get one done in 3 to 4 hours.
Oh wow.
So with Game Pass, I just bought a spreadsheet that was $20, and it itemizes every play and the result of it. So I can quickly filter, all Stephon Diggs catches, and then I'll just watch every play and go from there and, mark it and then, get it out. But it depends on, the level of depth of the thread. The defensive ones took a while.
All right. Yeah. 3 to 4 hours, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, give them a follow. Check out the threads. They're very entertaining. Here's another good one before we head out. Tony B says, what's the over under on games before Gase gets fired? Realistically, I don't think Gase gets fired during the season.
Here's going off that question. What would we have to do tomorrow to get Gase fired post game?
Post game.
We would have to put up some records.
Maybe midway through the season. I don't know. I don't see him getting rid of him in the middle of the season. But again, they're a worse team this season. So he might have a little bit of cushion with that, that understanding. I don't think the bar is too high. So even if he does really bad, obviously Gase is not going to take any of the blame. Somebody posted, when Adam Gase got hired, he wrote these 6 words in the facility. And then there's a lot of people retweeting with what they thought those 6 words were. My guess was his 6 words were, whatever happens, it's not my fault.
There you go.
Because he does not accept any blame.
Dysfunctional organizations stay dysfunctional. So as long as I'm just hoping for that to stay true and keep Gase around as long as you can.
Yeah. Stothy, maybe you can answer this one. Brett says, how often do you see audible into a fullback set from tight end?
I don't think I saw it that much, to be honest, but hopefully more this year with Gilliam if they get him involved.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I think this is a good time to end it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Again, thank you, Sathi, for joining us. Give him a follow on Twitter. We appreciate all the interaction with the hilarious comments, the good questions, and the predictions. It was a good day. My name is Jeremy. You can find me on Twitter at Buffalornia.
My name is Max. You can find me on Twitter at Cinco de Maxo.
My name's Stathi. You can find me on Twitter at Wistful Papa Doc. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Go Bills.
Appreciate it.
Bills,
Go
baby.
Bills.